Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to podcastjuice.net. My name is Michael Dean, and we are here for Vault 3 Tracks Review, our deep dive, scuba expedition into the funk. We got to keep it moving. We got a lot to talk about. So joining me today, Mr. Big Ken, sir. How are you?
I'm good, man. You know, part 3, man. Let's get on it.
Yes, sir. Also, Mr. Day Dropping, sir. How you doing?
I'm doing well. Looking forward to this one. I think it should be a lot of fun.
All right. And last but certainly not least, Big Sexy and Sax, sir. How are you?
Man, overwhelmed with music this week. It was a good week for music. It really was.
All right. Well, let's just keep it going. Before we get started, again, please check out our review of Vault 1 and Vault 2. And if you haven't already, please subscribe, like, and all that good stuff. With that said, let's just get right into it. The first track on this particular set here is Emotional Pump. And we're going to go to Big Ken first. Get started.
Yeah, this is a nice track. I mean, this kind of surfaced in the underground, about a year ago, something like that. And I liked it from the start then. Real nice, energetic, funky start to the Vault 3 section of the set. To me, it showcases Prince's superb bass thumping skills. And I mean, that's one of the main reasons that I really dig the vibe of this song, because I find it interesting because I didn't really hear much lead guitar at all. The song is really anchored by multiple bass parts, the multi-layered bass, the drums, percussion, and of course complemented by the flourishes that Eric and Atlanta throw in. So that's real dope. I got to be honest, though, I'm not exactly sure why he thought that this would fit Joni Mitchell's style. I mean, being a Joni Mitchell fan myself, I really couldn't see her singing this at all. And I really couldn't see this fitting the vibe of any of her albums. But even with that, man, it's still really, really funky. And I dig it. Nice start to this section.
All right. Day Dropping.
Yeah. Again, like everybody else here, I'm sure I heard this one a while back. Great to have it in good quality because it's much cleaner now. It's, this is just a fun little song. It's nothing too crazy. It's a good listen. That nice little synth hook. I love that. It kind of sticks in your head. Again, it's nothing mind blowing, but it's a fun inclusion. It's very catchy. Lyrically, this is just a whatever Prince song, just a crazy Prince song. I like it. Score on this one, again, it's nothing wild. It's a 7 out of 10. It's pretty. It's a safe listen. It's fun though.
All right, Big Sexy.
I got to co-sign with Ken because as I was tinkering around the house yesterday, I'm listening to this, and that bass just stands out, and it took me back to like 1980 or so, when Larry Graham had done One in a Million You. He did a little promo video about his thumping and plucking bass style, which I found so interesting because I never heard him break it down before. And listening to that took me to that Larry video, and you can just hear it throughout the song. Because a lot of people think they can do it, and a lot of people are wrong. It's not easy. It's not easy. I mean, on a short glance, yeah, I can do that. You can't. And he uses it as a lead instrument. It's great. The lyrics, but the musically, I dig this one. It's like Ernie says, nice little happy song. I like it.
All right. This song, I love it. It reminds me of like Fill You Up. Kind of has some of the same little bass thing at the end, the way he's playing it. And it reminds me of, it could sit next to him. For me, I would listen to this with, what's this? Sexual Suicide. They all kind of in that nice little funk. I almost said light funk, but it's not light. But I don't know, for something, only negative thing, if I had to say this negative, a nitpick, I wish it was a little more deeper in terms of the bass or the bottom.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But other than that, this would be like something if I would have walked into Paisley Park back in this time or something, and I just was bewildered by everything. I was like, whoa, this is where it goes down. And I heard some music in the background, it would be this. And I would be like, of course, that's Prince. That's exactly what I would think, it would sound like. It was like, okay, yeah, he ain't here working. So I dig this song, man. I could see why this song wasn't released, but I love that it's included here. Like I dig this. All right, next up, man, this one's been around for a minute. Rebirth of the Flesh, and we'll go to Big Sexy.
Like you said, this has been around for a while, and the guitar takes me back to like a Sly Stone vibe to it, and the horns change it up, and so do the background lyrics. But it's kind of chaotic at first glance, but he's definitely got a cohesive point here, and I think, and it's like the outro, I believe, and I don't know what the intro could have been, but I like this. It's like I wouldn't call it like a B-side type deal, but it's definitely like a little B-side, little surprise nugget you find somewhere, and here it is.
All right. Rebirth of the Flesh. Let me just throw mine in real quick. I've always loved this song. To me, this song in my mind was always like it would have been some aborted or a secret album or something, and like it would have started with this. Like, to me, I just feel like this song was such an introduction of like, I'm coming with some different shit. Because even when I first heard this, when it was on a bootleg, I always felt like, damn, this sounds like some weird, like he's just coming raw into your face type of, it sits in the same vein to me as like, we talked about the song last show, The Ball. And maybe it's sort of the Camille voice, but it just seemed like it's like a starter song. Like, this is the new style. And, I always thought this song was just aggressive. Like, and even here they add some shit where, this not cars, motherfucker. And then he's like, you could be my wife, motherfucker. I was like, what? Okay. He leaning into it. I was like, oh, this is great stuff. I always wish this song had came out officially. Like, I could have just seen it. I wanted to see it live. Like, and I love that there was, actually Prince put out the rehearsal version of this song years ago. I remember that. But I always adored this song. Love it. They do something here different where they supposedly is some sort of the original outro or song. I'm curious what was going on with the edit of this, because it seemed like the song sort of fades out and then it comes back in. But to me, what it comes back into sounds as if it's mixed slightly different than what we were just listening to. I wish they would offer more information on what that's all about. But yeah, this jams, man. This is one of those songs where I go in and do my own slightly little mix where I give a little more bottom to it. That shit is slamming. So love it. Big Ken.
Yeah, I gotta agree with you guys, man. This has been a long time favorite of mine. It's to me one of the tightest, one of his nastiest grooves, man. And I'm glad that we got it in this pristine condition. And it's just like you guys, man. From the very start, that solo process, percussion starts, and then he drops in that really gritty guitar line that's in your face, like Big Sexy said, and then the synth that comes in, the synth pad that's laid underneath it is almost eerie sounding, and the tone is set immediately, man. Like that, what's about to come is not what you may have been used to. You know what I'm saying? And to me, it almost feels like this is just Prince in just like mad scientist mode, man. He just crazy experimenting, throwing stuff together, just because, man. And it, to me, it works. And I loved Eric and Atlanta's contributions to this, and the lyrics. I love the Camille style vocals. Okay, but I've always, because now, if I'm not mistaken, this was post Revolution, mainly him by himself. So I kind of get some low key shade from the lyrics, man. And like you said, that you could be my wife, but all you do is steal. Okay, is that I'm going to assume that's a veiled dig at Susanna, right? Maybe. And then the line, the line that always got me when they say 3-2 funk ain't in our way. I always say 3-2 is 5. There are 5 members of the revolution other than him. So is he talking about, 3-2 funk and NRA, meaning like I'm beyond you guys? This is the rebirth of my shit. That's kind of how that's kind of how I've always took it. But I don't know for sure. But I just know that this song is kicking, man. And then right around the 4-minute mark until the end, that guitar goes crazy, blended with the complicated horn lines, the rising, the synth, the chants in the background, the hand claps, all that. And like Big Sexy said, he said chaos. I had in my notes, I called it controlled chaos. Like he knows exactly what he's doing. It's thrown together. It's almost like a gumbo, man. And it works, man. It's a gem of a track to me. I've always loved it. And as far as that outro goes, Mike, I kind of agree with you, but I kind of think, man, it might be that part that's spliced in at the end. Maybe it just sounds that way because that might be the only quality that they had of that snippet. Mm-hmm. But you're right, because it probably was recorded at a different time than the original recording, possibly. But yeah, it does sound a little off. But even still, man, this is an excellent song, man. I love it.
Yes, man. I never thought about the lyrics like that, and that really got me.
That 3-2 funk line has always intrigued me, and I'm like, man, what does he mean 3-2 funk? And that's the only thing I can think of. I could be wrong, but that's just a guess.
Interesting. Day dropping.
Wow, I didn't follow that one. Well, I'll try, I guess. So with the original outro and all, yeah, it does sound kind of Frankensteinish the way they put it together, but it works for me. I like it. This is longer, more lyrics. You guys already touched on that as well. I obviously ain't heard this version before, but it's always fun to hear something new. For me, it's a funky jam, and it's most definitely that bootleg staple that is no more a bootleg staples now that it's out. And I like that it has a proper ending note on it. For me, this is a song that could have easily worked maybe on the Black Album somewhere. It has that type of vibe to it with the horns and everything going on. And I've always liked it. This is like some other bootlegs for me where before I couldn't appreciate it as much because it wasn't as good sounding as it is now. So I never thought that highly of this one. But now, having heard it, having gone running to it, and just having it playing my headphones when I'm doing yard work or whatever, it works, and it works. And it's a funky track, and it really kicks. So I give this one a score of 9 out of 10. It's nice. I dig it.
All right. Moving right along to the next song, and that is Cosmic Day. And I'm going to go back to Day dropping on this one. I want to hear what he thinks about this song.
Okay. Yeah. I love this song. I know it's preceded with a whole lot of mythos, but when I finally heard the whole thing, to me, it was seen as a holy grail. And it's a polarizing song at that. I've heard a lot of people talking about it, like on the org and different places. Some people really like it. Some people,
can you also speak a little bit of, you said it was in the mythos. You just give us a little idea what you mean by that.
Okay. So, back when I was in my college days, right? In my college days and stuff, I didn't have a computer at home, or I did, but no real internet. It was all dial up. So the best I could do was to go to the library and the local college here to be able to get on stuff. And that's where I was first introduced to the org. So being on the org, I was snooping around, and I was fascinated by the information there. And I was especially fascinated by the fact that there were outtakes and there was a lot of bootlegs, and I didn't know about that then. So that was my introduction to all that kind of stuff, just by hearing about it on the org. And someone by the name of T on the org had mentioned this song, and it was just kind of just talked about. You have this song called Cosmic Day, and for a while there, all you heard was just the title and what it, that it was a song that Prince did, and it was one of those, wow, I wonder how that sounds like songs. And over time, when I would dig around, I would hear people talk about how it sounded. So I'm like, oh, these are people in the know. And that's where folks like T would talk about it. And he would, just give little drops of how it would sound, and that it was a rocker, and it sounded out there, something different than what you've heard before. And that was all I needed to hear to know that I liked the song. For me, I've always liked the song, and this is the only Prince song that I can say that I've always liked. And what I mean by that is when I first heard the title, I liked it. I had to hear the song. I like the song called Cosmic Day. What the heck how is that going to sound? And when I heard not snippets, but when I heard descriptions on it, I liked it even more. Had not heard one note of the song. When I finally heard a little bit of a snippet of it a few years ago, and we're talking like 20 years later from when we finally heard it, it's building up all of this mythology about whether it's a good song. I think even more mythology than a song like Moonbeam Levels. This was built up so high, and I think that may have worked against it. But when I finally heard it, there's a little 2-minute snippet that came out a few years ago. I was hooked on it. And when I finally got to hear this whole thing, I was hooked on it even more. It's, again, the only song that I've ever liked from the inception of having heard the title to actually hearing the entire thing over the course of almost 30 years, I guess, real close to it. This is a song that's been in the making for me to hear in nearly 30 years. And now that I've heard it, I love it. I like the high vocals. I like that. It doesn't bother me one bit. I like the slow, dreamy part towards the end and the whimsical lyrics. I know Ken's going to dig it because of the lyrics. The way he dug Boom, he's got to dig Cosmic Day. And
yes, sir.
Yeah, it's so cool. Even if it sounds like a 90s Saturday morning cartoon intro, I don't care. This is most definitely a 10 out of 10, and it will always be a 10 out of 10.
Wow. Okay. Well, let's just go right to Big Ken.
I agree wholeheartedly. This is a very, very, very interesting and unique song that I love. And like Ernie, I heard small snippets, from time to time before, and they weren't in the best quality, right? So I didn't really think much of it due at the time, because there was just a very small bit that I'd heard. But hearing this now in full, in this quality, I can really feel the full scope and the brilliance of the song. Like Rebirth of the Flesh, he's just him again in ultra experimental mode, and I'm all for it. I love it when he goes out like this, right? And does stuff that is against the grain. And my interest is piqued right from the very start of the song, because you get that whole, that the kick drum, that tick-tock clock vibe, followed right by this percussion counter rhythm for another 2 bars. And then that raucous guitar line comes in with the heavy snare thrown all right in your grill. Is beautiful. And then Prince is in full psychedelic mode with the surreal lyrics delivered in this super sped up Camille voice. I mean, this is even pitched up a little bit higher than I think his normal Camille vocals are. And those are pitched up. And it's just a little bit higher for maximum effect. And like he said, this is a cosmic dream. That's how it starts. And to me, it sounds like it. I love the chord changes in the bridge around 1:45. That's very, very nice. Things start to get even more interesting when he starts, that cosmic day, the background vocals around 2.5 minutes right before that first guitar solo. And then it really takes off around 4:40 when the key change starts and he gets into that hard groove, complete with another blistering solo, and the bass line is getting funky right along with it. Is fabulous, man. Absolutely fabulous. And to me, man, it's just another, like, a shining example, man, of how Prince, to me, just had unending creativity, man. He had just such a vast range that he's able to achieve with ease, man, almost at any given time, man. And it's just another highlight in this set for me. And I'll just lastly say, per Prince Vault, supposedly Claire Fisher recorded some orchestrations for this that never got used. I could only imagine how this would have sounded with Claire's orchestrations behind it. I mean, it would have been mind blowing. I mean, but I love this song, so I agree with Ernie wholeheartedly.
All right, Big Sexy, go ahead.
When I heard it initially with the sped up voice, I'm thinking, okay, he could have given this to the Bangles. Then listening to it in subsequent, listenings, and this is not a burn on, I believe her name is Debbie Peterson, the lead guitarist for the Bangles. I don't know if she could pull this off. I haven't heard her rip like this, so I don't know. But I like this. I love the guitar, and I think I'm hearing a double kick drum underneath there somewhere. And all the instruments, it's all Prince doing his thing, and I like it. It did have a little bit of a American Bandstand feel to me because of the high voice. I could just see that back in the 80s with the scarves around the neck and the loud alligator shirts. But when you get beyond that, the guitar is burning, and the double kick is burning too. Now, this is a good song. I like it.
Let me just stop you for a second. What you said, American Bandstand. Man, I ain't heard that in so long. I know for some. I'm just saying for my younger listeners. Go do your Googles on American Bandstand. That was a very important show back in the day.
It was.
Anyway, I love, we got to hear, as Ernie said, the mythos, and you got to hear a story about a Prince song that I don't know if this I think this part of the fandom might be coming to an end because now we're starting to get a lot of these songs officially released. But I just love the way you described, you just saw the title of the song and then had this idea in your mind. It's just the anticipation of it. And then the fact that we never really got to hear it. And then you hear snippets of it. It becomes this like forbidden fruit type of thing. And then when you finally get it, it's like, it either lives up to your expectations or it doesn't, right? Because you were saying people just kind of go either way with this. And I'm going to be the other side of this. I definitely saw the same things you did. I know, there's other song that I think Wally sort of had this same sort, and we'll talk about that later. You heard about these songs, you heard snippets, and you're just like, oh, you kind of in your mind think because it was held back and there's that allure to it, and we love Prince. So it's like, oh, this is going to be something special, yeah, I can't wait to, it was that sort of that one-upmanship. Oh, did you get it? Oh, I heard it. I didn't hear it. You got it. And so I remember when the snippet of this came out, and I was like, okay. I was like, it's not a bad song or anything. I'm not saying it's bad, but it made me think like there's different tastes in Prince music. Because I'm like, if you just go by the conversation of it, this is supposed to be the best song coming out of the vault, in a long time. Okay. And then when I heard it, maybe I just had my expectations were somewhere else. And I was like, this is cool. It's too short for me to have any judgment on it. Not gonna even pay no attention to it, whatever. And then when it finally comes out, I was like, I tried to forget the allure about it. So let me just listen to the song for what it is. And for me personally, this is not a bad song at all. This is a good song. I actually don't hear anything for me special about it. Like this sounds like some normal Prince type stuff to me. But I'm saying that to say is it's just interesting how we can have very, very different. We hear very different things in some of Prince's stuff, which I actually would argue. I don't know if we do that with this. May be controversial. I don't know if you go back to earlier Prince songs and you can have such a one way or the other stance on music. It's just like it's the shit. To me, when it gets to this period is when you can kind of start to have there's people who really dig certain things sometimes and certain people who don't like certain things. And this is one of those songs where I just feel like, yeah, this is cool. If I take away the story of the song, to me, it just sounds just like, this is okay. It's a Prince rock song. Like he's done this before. But I do understand and I also get why listening to it, it can be like, man, this is some out there type stuff, because you take Cosmic Day, what that says in a lot of people's mind, it'll make you think of some like, yeah, this is out there, this is way out. Where I think if it was just called Rock Track 2 or something, I don't know if people would have, I don't know if they would have looked at it and it's just like, oh, okay, yes. But that the importance of titling and everything adds to it. So that's just my take on the song. But I love the parts like Ken were breaking down when he gets into the solos and stuff. Yeah, that shit is tight, man. It just sounds like that classic Prince sound to me. Like I hear it in the instrumentation, even if it's playing a different genre of music. To me, that's just like unmistakably Prince. Like, I all the sounds of that time, the way he's playing the stuff. I love it. So great song. Mike, I don't understand. How had you not like? You just heard I say great song.
Yeah.
But you didn't say it with enthusiasm. Stop it. All right. Cosmic Day. There we go. Cosmic Day. Next up, Walking in Glory. Hallelujah.
Mm-hmm.
We're gonna go to Big Ken.
Well, all right, guys. So up to this point, in this set, to me, the listener is getting hit with body blow after body blow, right? And then this song comes on, and to me, man, it's like a straight left hook right to your jaw. I mean, this has to be one of the greasiest, tightest, most funky gospel songs I have ever heard, ever. I mean, it's a masterpiece in every sense of the word. So, like, as far as I know, this was recorded like the same day that he did Bob George. So maybe this was his, makeup for all the foul stuff in Bob George. But whether that's the case or not, I mean, he put his stamp on this one for real, man. And I remember, man, look, when I first got the set, okay, I got the headphones on, as we discussed in the previous two shows, there's been plenty of bombshells, moments up to this point. So I'm sitting there grooving to it with my headphones. About 30 seconds into it, man, I realized that I'm hearing the two niggas united for West Compton. And I swear it suddenly felt like I was 8 years old at Christmas time, and I opened up the box and saw the brand new Atari 2600. I know I'm dating myself, but that's how happy I was, man. Like, you should have seen the grin on my face. My wife was looking at me like I was crazy because I was in the chair, like bouncing around. She must have thought I was having a fit or something. I was like ecstatic. Like, seriously, like I was like, it was jaw dropping. I was like, wow, like this is the basis for that song. I mean, and I had the volume way up. I didn't care, man. It was just crazy. And I played this sucker about 5 or 6 times straight just to absorb it all. I mean, it's nasty, man. Like the drums in the pocket, that walking bass line, his vocals, lead and background are perfect for this. He's even got the offbeat, church hand claps going through it at particular times, that, give you that church vibe. And during the last couple of minutes, I love it when on songs, he's done it on numerous songs, and then Time does it as well. They get to them grooving parts, man, and they hold that one keyboard note extended long time, like he does the same thing here, and at the end of this song, he's got that organ note just being held down for a long time while he's killing the guitar solo. The song is just full tilt at that point, man. It's just overwhelming that actually I'm listening to it. I'm half expecting for that funky ass bass solo that he has in two gigs to come in, right? I'm listening to it. I'm waiting. I was like, where's the bass? I'm waiting for that to come in, but it doesn't come in. But it doesn't matter, man. It's just pure fire from start to finish, man. And I just got to be honest with y'all, man. This track, and along with another one we'll talk about in a minute, man, just hit me straight in the feels. Maybe it was because of the combination of the subject matter of the song and the sheer joy of having this masterpiece. But whatever it was, man, it just, I don't know. The song hit me in such a way, it had me feeling some kind of way for a minute. So this is a no doubt highlight in the set for me, man. Just, 100 out of 100, man. I mean, it's just awesome.
All right. Big Sexy.
Again, this is definitely put on your Sunday best, and ladies get them big church hats. Let's go. But like Ken just mentioned, underneath it, like in the second half of the song, really, there is this blistering guitar solo, but again, I'm not saying you can't have that in church, but this is definitely full on gospel. I'm expecting Bishop T.D. Jakes to just walk in any minute now. He is going to work here. I can just see people falling out, with the tambourines and the little handheld fans, like, oh, take me to the next level, and I'm not going to get into issues of theology, and music, but I could easily see someone in that musical realm covering this easily and doing something with it, because it's really that genuine and it's that good.
All right, Mr. Day dropping.
Okay. So I've made it no nothing hidden that I don't care much for Prince's types of the gospel sounding songs. And they've never been that high on my list, to the point where I like Purple Rain, but to me it always sounds kind of churchy as well, and that a little distracting for me on it. Although I love the song, right? So and on the panel here, I've always made that point. However, Walking in Glory, wow. I mean, who knew Two Nigs United for West Compton had lyrics? I know I didn't. I love it. And I know, Michael, you're digging this one. I know it, because this is definitely that Sunday church song for sure. But you know what? It works. It works 100%. And I am 100% cool and behind it. And you know why? Because I know that Prince is feeling this track like no other. He is so in depth in this song here. I mean, you can picture his facial expressions as he's recording this. And just when you think it might be done around the 3-minute mark, then it goes full guitar mode, like Big Sexy said. This should have been released on something, but a Sign of the Times? Not Love Sexy's Black Album? I don't know. Should have been released somewhere. I'll tell you what, though, man, this is a song that's going to make you look like a fool in your car, is what it's going to do. You're going to look foolish in your car because you're going to be singing to it. You're going to be dancing to it. And people next to you at the stoplight are going to be staring at you really good. This is a 10 out of 10. You can't go wrong with a song like this. And if this doesn't get your blood going, don't get at least your big toe stomping, I don't know what will. You're dead. You got no pulse. You're dead if it don't do that. So, if you're hearing it and you ain't moving, you better go to the hospital because something's wrong. So that's my take on it. 10 out of 10.
Wow. I look at it this way. If this song had came out back then, it would have probably blew my mind, like, because I wouldn't think to associate Prince with sort of more of an overtly gospel type of music like this, but in his style.
Because he never released anything like that.
That's what I'm saying. So it would have blew me away. I would have been like, whoa, huh? And you asked a good question. You're like, where would you have put this? I would actually, you know what? I would argue this would have been a great track to have been the last song on the Black Album.
Okay.
Like if everything the Black Album was talking all that crazy and all that stuff, and then it actually ended with this as almost like,
including the bass solo.
Including the bass solo. If it had ended this way, and then it's sort of been a signal post to where he was about to go next with Love Sexy, that would have been like, wow, like he's coming out of this darkness, he's walking into glory, and then the next thing he drops is Love Sexy. I know the rebirth. You know what I mean? Like I could see a whole little.
Yeah. That works 100% because you include the separate track Two Nigs United for West Compton to show that there's an evolution there, and the mind frame has changed at the very end. And now you took something called Two Nigs United for West Compton and you flipped it in this one. Yeah. Oh, that works. That works.
Crazy. But yeah, I think I'm glad they put this on there. Like this is one of those like, okay, wow. This is a find. This is excellent. So yeah, I agree with everything you guys said. I love this track.
You remember when I said in a couple of previous shows, there's been a few songs where that the inclusion of that song makes the price of the set worth it. This is one of those.
Yes.
This is one of those where, this is a high point, like a real high point in this entire set.
I agree.
And if you don't dig these type of songs from Prince, do not be swayed by the title. Do not be swayed by the title because it's not. It is what you think, and it is good. So there you go.
All right. Next up is Wally. Another one of these mythical Prince tracks. And now we got it here in its full glory. I'm sure there's some controversy of that. So I want to go to Big Ken first. And what's your take on Wally?
Well, again, I'm just speaking for me personally. Like, okay, so Walking in Glory, if that didn't knock me out, then to me, you get an emotional uppercut to your chin for the TKO with this song. Okay, to me, I find it's a very beautiful but a very powerful song where you really get the sense of Prince at his most vulnerable, because I think this was post breakup with Susanna, and we all know the legend of the song, right? You know how he poured everything about that breakup into the original recording of Wally, but he just let it all flow on tape, but he deemed it too personal and told Susan to erase it, right? And then we did this afterward. So even if this is the second version of the song, I mean, to me, you can still get the sense of the pain that he was probably feeling during that time. I mean, it's palpable. You can hear it. I mean, let's face it, fellas. Look, we all been in breakups with somebody serious at some point in time. Where you end up back in the club or wherever, foolishly thinking that you can immediately fill that void by trying to meet somebody new. And so to me, he very skillfully captures that sadness and that sad scenario, but he uses Wally's glasses as the lens to focus it, no pun intended. Right? He's on a mission, right? He said, yo, Wally, where you get them glasses? Let me try them on. I'm going to a party tonight because I could be so clean, asking if he's got if the dame he's going with has got a sister, right? My favorite delivery, check it out, Wally. I'm on the prowl tonight, right?
That was real chipper there.
Right. But dig it. The tone in that line, check it out, Wally, I'm on the prowl tonight. The tone in that line betrays him. It's showing false confidence. Almost sounds like he's trying to convince himself that he's good. And again, we've all been there, fellas. Come on now. If you search deep, we've all been there.
I haven't.
You have. You have. Okay, we've all been there where you think, I don't need that girl, man. Forget that girl. I'm over here. But you're not really right? So it's just. You can really tell that, man, when he comes back and he says, what am I going to do? She was the only one in the world that I could talk to. And the music literally grinds to a stop and then slowly comes back in. And it's just a sentiment. To me, it really speaks to that sentiment that anybody who's been in a bit of breakup can relate to. It's very deep, laid bare for you to hear. Then he comes back with this blistering guitar solo, very emotional one, with excellent support from Eric in Atlanta. And it's just a very beautiful, melancholy song, but that to me is pure blues, but not blues in the sense of the style and the structure of blues music, but in the sincerity and the intent of the message. Like like you really feel he's down in the dumps. It kind of reminded me, even though it's not exactly the same, but the image of the old Cosby Show one, where the Theo got hemmed up and Justine caught him. And Bill had to teach him, you got to go into the blues begging level. Justine, right? That's where he's at with this. And so it's just an emotional gut punch, another highlight to the set. And I'm ecstatic to have it, even if this is not the original. And again, this is the second song in this set, man, again, that kind of got me emotional because I'm hearing it and I'm feeling to myself, it's just like, wow, man, this cat's no longer with us, man, and that sucks. But the music, is eternal, right? And it just, again, the amount that it just showcases how wide a net Prince can cast, man, on just about damn near any genre, man. And it's just beautiful. So I love it.
Right. Big Sexy.
I've heard a lot of people speculate about Wally, and the way Ken just broke that down, capturing the emotional resonance of that phrase, check it out, Wally, because you can, he nailed it, because you can hear the false bravado. You can hear it. Now, I obviously do not know what happened between Prince and Susanna, but it hurt him. And the Wally version that we're never going to hear must be something, man, because you can hear and feel the pain, assuming that's what this pain is coming from. I don't see why it wouldn't, from that relationship. So whatever happened with those two really, at least for that time, shook him up. And the best music or the best art is when you pour in your emotional feelings to it. And he did that here. You could hear it in the guitar. You could hear it everywhere. And honestly, when I first heard it, I was thinking, oh, man, this is some factory second, man. This ain't the real Wally. It's bullshit. But no, he definitely captured it. You know, now again, I guess the first one must be just insane. And it could be one of those things where, and I will own a shortcoming. It could be one of those things where musically, I couldn't wrap my head around it. Because I've been trying to wrap my head around Bitches Brew for miles for years. And I still can't do it. So it could be something like that. And if it was, great. You know, but again, just seeing that side of him that he let us see, you know, post breakup, that's heavy, man. It's heavy. And it's a great song to capture that. I'm kind of curious. Again, I wouldn't know. I'm curious what Susanna was feeling at that time too, or if she's heard this, which I'm sure she has, and how that makes her feel. It's just, ooh, you're putting your heart out there on Front Street, man. You really are.
I mean, can you even imagine? Can you even imagine what was on that real version, the real one? I mean, it probably was all kind of foul language, anything. I mean, just off the cuff, right? Just letting all the personal stuff out for real.
It probably even named Susanna by name on
exactly.
it. Exactly.
Yeah. So yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah. Again, this is one of those songs you heard so much about, in terms of like the hardcore org. Prince.org and different stuff, and is this coming out? And I remember when I think it leaked, I don't know, a couple years ago or something like that. Mm-hmm. Which was that the version that leaked is not the same as this, is it?
No, yes, it is.
It is.
It is. It is. This one's just cleaner though.
Okay.
And I was a little underwhelmed at the time, and because of just the quality of it, I just was like, I don't even want to listen to this. I'll wait if it ever, comes out. But I was like, salute to Wally, the real Wally. You know what I'm saying? Because I know that's a good look for you. Anybody, trying to check your credentials, like, nigga, I got a song. Wait, what else I got to show you? It'd have been one thing if he had a song called Neil. But I'm just but he doesn't. Oh, man. But with that said, I do love the music on here, man. It's just that time period. It's just all the Eric leads just coming through, and the guitar, it all just has that sound and that tone of that particular time period, which I love. So I can't help but not love this song. And for everything Ken said, or just about the way he's singing it and stuff, I love this. Prince does these types of songs. I think my favorite of these sort of breakup songs would be I Hate You, which I think he masters it at that point, but he knows how to capture that kind of, it's almost like, I hate this, like, bitch, you ain't shit type things that he likes to do in his song. Like, because his early songs, he was like going in, what's it, like something in the water, things like that. Angry. But he was literally like, bitch, he was like going, sort of that abusive kind of dude. But here is a little more simpish, which I can appreciate. But he's talking to his mans. That's what I'm trying to get to. He's talking to his mans, Wally. And that's what I'm saying. Yeah. I think we can't like understate what Wally and these cats meant to Prince during these times. Like, you know what I mean? Like, to the fact that, that was his boys. And he's like, man, I'm going through something with these females, man. Man, what's up, Wally? What you think? Play, you know what I mean? It's that, to me, it has that type of vibe. It's very much the same type of camaraderie in this song as you hear later in years, not from Prince, but in like rap songs and stuff where you're always talking to your boys. You know what I'm saying? That's what I get from, that's what I really love about the song. It's like, man, it really shows you, the brotherhood of those people that he had around him, to the fact that he actually sang the song. The same thing would be said, Billy's sunglasses. You know what I'm saying? Obviously these guys must have been close to him, that he would, put their names and songs and that type of thing. So I really appreciate the song for that as well. Big Ken. Did I go?
Yeah, I went first.
I mean, not Big Ken. I'm sorry. Big Sexy. I got caught up.
I went already too.
See, there you go. Y'all, see, this is why y'all already know what I'm trying to do. They dropping. You're supposed to come in and say,
But
Check it out, Mike. We
Hey,
are
see,
here.
there you go. I didn't say you sound like that, but
well, check it out, Mike. I'm on the prowl tonight. Woo! Oh, no, you know what? You said something that I think is very cool to point out, Mike. That there's 1,000,001 women's songs in the Prince catalog. There are, but there are not too many guy songs like this in his catalog. So it's refreshing to hear that. And the guy song in that, guys don't, we're not supposed to be the vulnerable ones and all, but we got to be at some point, and we got to have that buddy of ours who we're gonna break down to some degree, because he's going to understand that. And he might play us because that's how we get along. He might joke around with us and hey, quit being a little bitch, that kind of thing, whatever, or he might be the real sympathetic cat. You never know. But that's the type of, you have that person, and that's how this song is. And there isn't too many of these types of songs. And I hadn't thought about that. And I think it's very beautiful to have a song like that on here. But Ken thought that this was a newer version. I did too. And because there's little piano flourishes that are in it that you hadn't heard before, that are there in the older, even the most recent boot version of the song. You can find it there if you listen to it, as well as Claire Fisher's orchestration. It's there, but it's so muddied in the quality of that boot that it's hard to hear. And unless you have a good frame of reference like this clean version here to listen to, then you can hear it in the other version. But they are there, and it almost sounds like there's different. Like at first I thought, man, am I hearing now a full stereo version of this, where I was hearing maybe a mono version that was put on both sides that way? But no, it's all there, and it is the same song. It's just much clearer, with the exception of one little thing I'll get to. But yeah, Claire Fisher shines here, as does the piano. Me, I kind of sense that this is like a drunk Prince who's been drinking, pre-gaming it by himself, before he goes out, because he just might not. He's just kind of tipsy, and then that's why he kind of goes, all yeah, let's go out. My baby, she ain't with me no more, type of thing, and it's sad. It's melancholy. And I've always liked the little bit of story of how he told Susanna about this, how the word melody and malady sounds so similar, and how he used that in the lyrics on the malada, oh my la di da, how he fit the word malady in their sickness, that it was just horrid feeling that he was going through. And I've always thought that was so beautiful. And to speak really quickly on another boot, the original Friends for Sale was wild compared to the one that came out on the album Old Friends for Sale. And like you guys had mentioned, I can only imagine how this original one would have been. It would have probably just been very heart-wrenching to hear. And I'm sure it was for him. It was therapeutic for him to do that. He had to do it. And to hear the story, the way Susanna tells it, how he just kept layering instrumentation over it, and literally destroying the song through instrumentation, and then ultimately saying, just get rid of it. He was kind of like, destroying the past that was there, and just moving forward. And you hear that in this one too. This is one of the songs that I do get emotional listening to it now because of his passing. It reminds you of his passing. It reminds me of those dark feelings that you had. Everybody has had, like Ken said, when you break up with somebody, or nobody's no longer there, and that yelling that he does towards the end, it gets to me. It does. And I love that it makes me sad. I know it sounds weird. I love that the song makes me sad. And the only distracting thing, and it does not change from the scoring, the only distracting thing on it is how it does fade out at the very, very end. The boot, and I listened to it thinking maybe it's different. And I listened to the boot version of it, the most recent one that I had, and it does not fade out at the very end. It has the carrying notes, and then it carries out and ends. It naturally fades out with the notes. This one is like a forced fade out. I'm wondering if that's like a technical issue that they ran into, that they weren't able to get a good sounding quality version of it to include the fade out the way it is. It's there. You can hear all the tones, but they fade it out at the very end. But that's just nitpicking it. Ultimately, this song is a forever 10 out of 10 because because there will always be people, there'll always be guys who are heartbroken and have that buddy who they can talk to. They will always exist. And so this song will always exist to tie into that. The 10 out of 10 forever.
Wow. Okay. Man, let's keep it moving. I Need a Man. Pause.
News coming.
This is.
You're saying that to me, and I ain't saying that to you.
All right. I'm just gonna start real quick. I would say, dun, 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 dun. And that I already was like, okay, I like it because again, just all the signposts and musical cues from that time period. So I'm all listening and I got my attention. And here's a thing I would say about this song and a couple of these songs coming up next. I could actually hear, I wouldn't have been shocked if I heard these in later Prince, like in the 2000s or like, what's that one album? The Vault.
Mm-hmm.
No, is it the Vault Offering for Sale album where the songs they had That Walk and I could easily have heard them redoing renditions of this song. And it all just reminds me of the same stuff. It's just quintessential. There's a certain sound Prince has when he does these types of songs. And I love it. I'm shocked to see or read, reading at the Vault, that this song actually dates back to 81, pre-Vanity 6 for the hookers. And then I would love to hear that version. But specifically this version here, 87. I think this is cool. It just sounds like... it sounds like a rehearsal to me. Like I could see all the band just standing around and they're actually running through this and recording it. I, in my mind, it sounds like a live type of thing. But I love this. It just sounds like some offshoot song from 87, which it is. And I know there's another story about Bonnie Raitt and all that, but I love this. I think it sounds great. It just sounds like Prince. It's like one of them songs he could just write in his sleep. Like, yeah, you need a song for this chick. All right, I need a man. Where's my window? It kind of reminds me of that.
I can't stand the rain.
Yeah, that's how I kind of hear that in a little bit, but I love it. Just as that, it's a soulful little vibe to it. We'll go to Big Sexy.
I got to co-sign everything you said. I was reading an article about the Bonnie Raitt possibility, and she actually cut vocals for this. But he had to leave to go do the Sign of the Times tour overseas, and she was having beef with Warner's at the time. So unfortunately, they didn't get a chance to finish it. So it couldn't have been included on her comeback album of Nick of Time. Having said that, she would have tore this up. She would have torn this up. You get and let me tread very lightly here. If you get an older woman to sing this, like a Bonnie Raitt, like a Mavis Staples, somewhere in that generation, it carries a certain authenticity to it. Whereas if you get a youngin singing it, it's just not going to have that same urgency or same depth of character to it that it does come from an older woman, which would have done wonders for that song here. But, unfortunately, things go the way they go. And hopefully someone is hearing it now, a singer is saying, let me do something with that. And she makes the call to the estate and gets, the permission to go ahead and do something with it, because this is too good to not have a woman sing it.
Be very careful, Mark.
What I do now?
Well, because if somebody is now, I hate to say it, probably be like a Cardi.
Oh, hell no. No,
I don't think it'd be saying I need a man. It'd be I need some dick. And it just been, so I don't know.
Yeah,
they be on some other stuff today. Now again, it's I say all that to say I easily have seen Vanity 6 in them saying that too, because that was wild back then. But anyway.
See, they even started now. Now that you put it out there. You can't
get that out of your head.
Now it's out there.
What? Jay dropping.
Okay. Man. I like the song. It's cool. It's cool. Because I want to hear other songs on the track. I find myself sometimes listening to this for maybe about a minute and a half, 2 minutes, and I go on to the next track. And that doesn't mean that it's a skipper for me. It's a song that I go back to from time to time. I had to listen to. Originally, when I did this scoring on this one, I had it as a 5 out of 10 because I didn't, but I noted that it was something I was going to likely. It's a grower type of track, and right now I feel it's more like a 6 out of 10. It's cool, but it's not something that I'll be coming back to over and over again. I say that now, and in late October 2020, and you watch come the end of the year next year, I'll be listening to the song over and over and over and over again. But it's a cool song. It's okay. It doesn't really stand out for me, So 6 out of 10.
Damn, 6. Okay.
Damn, 6 is rough.
Coming up next, my man, Big Ken. Excuse me.
Yeah, I kind of agree with Mike and Mark on this one. I dig this one. This is a pretty funky track. I really like that 6 note bass line. That dum 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 dum. That's pretty tight. It's heavy. It's not heavy with the thumping and the popping like he's done in other songs, but it's funky the way he's got it anchored through the song and how it just skips along through the song, keeps the whole song in pocket. So I dig that a lot. I like the turnaround at the 2.5 minute mark. That's pretty good. Eric and Atlanta doing a thing. Eric and Atlanta, man, throughout this whole vault section, man, they have been, man, instrumental in a lot of this, man. They add such a texture to these songs, man. It's just ridiculous how important they were. And I really dig the breakdown at around 4.5 minutes that take the song out, man, because, and Prince must have liked it too, because you can hear him say, skip the change, keep grooving. So he dug it. So yeah, I dig it a lot, man. It probably would have been really emotional. Really interesting to hear Bonnie Raitt's version of it as well. But yeah, I like this one. This is pretty cool. And to me, Mike, when you said, you could hear it on other, and some older stuff, I kind of got the vibe, man, from whatever reason, this song, maybe it's what's the word I'm looking for? The live sound to it, to me, immediately brought up stuff like, Love to the Nines, Sexy MF.
Mm-hmm.
I could see it fitting on the Symbol album a little bit as well, with the way it sounds. But yeah, I dig this one. It's pretty good.
All right. We'll just keep moving. Promise to Be True is the next one. And this song to me is another one. I listened to this, and again, I could hear this on a later Prince album. Like, I don't know if it's like you said, that live sound to it, but this sounds like, I think I mentioned it earlier, About That Walk, or it has that same kind of vibe to it. And I love this song. God, I never heard this before. And it's just so catchy to me. The hook is, when Prince wants to write some hooks, he can write some hooks. And he was writing some hooks here. I don't know if he was intentionally trying to do, like catchy pop music, which I'm not mad at. But yeah, I loved it. For some reason I could see, and I don't know who this was originally for, but I could see Sheila E. I could have easily seen this been on one of her records back then. I could hear her voice on this, but I love it. So this is not like something he could have pulled. He could have took this out of the vault on some of his later stuff and say, we doing this. We're gonna play this song. So I love this. Day Dropping.
Yeah, you kind of took what I was going to say about this one too, because this reminds you of it. It's About That Walk completely. They work great back to back. You cue them up back to back, either one before the other. It doesn't matter. They sound good. They complement each other actually, and that's a good thing. I like the song. I don't have too much to really say about it. It's a fun little track, and I like the ending. The ending's really nice on it. Prince can do these songs in his sleep also. It's an 8 out of 10. It's a great song.
Yeah, 10. I respect that, Big Ken.
Yeah, I dig it. This is another one, I think actually the last one, this one, and the next two were all like offered to Bonnie Raitt at some point. So I could see her digging this one or doing something with this. I heard the song, man. It immediately gave me, I Could Never Take the Place of Your Man type vibes for some reason. Prince's vocals here are pretty cool. I like the attitude that he delivers them with, and I like that bluesy gospel tinge ending. Yeah, it's a nice track, man. I dig it.
Big Sexy.
It's about time you got home. Nah, baby, don't try to tag wagon routine on me. I could see this being part of like the live vamp of It's Gonna Be a Beautiful Night. I can see the band taking this and just running with it. You know, you got the horn section just blistering. You know, band is cooking on fire with this one. Now, granted, he did offer it out to Bonnie Raitt and whatnot, but back in '87 when he redid it to this version, should have kept it. Should have kept it as a B-side and break it out at the end of the Sign of the Times tour and just kick things up to another level. Because this is funky. I love this one.
Yeah, now I'm trying to remember where I remember this from. This was like the Love Sexy shows, were they, if I'm not mistaken. Were they, and I could be off. Maybe it's sign where that dun, 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 dun. I think he did this was it 80s melody? I don't know if I really remember what I'm talking about. Like there would be sometimes when he would do an 80s melody during the Love Sexy
I'm trying to remember.
And one of them, it was a rehearsal, but when they do all the 80s songs. And I think it ends when they come out of it, it goes.
No, he was doing that in the parade concerts.
Okay. Well, I mean, I know he was doing it it might have been a rehearsal I'm listening, but then it goes right into, he goes, dun, 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 come on. I think they do God, what song are they doing? It's a Aretha Franklin song or something.
Oh, okay.
And then it goes into a very long, drawn out jam on that. But they're vamping this. Anyway, some of y'all don't know what I'm talking about. But I know I knew this music. All right. Moving on from Needing a Man to Promise to Be True. And we're going to go to Big Sexy and Sack start us out.
Okay, wait a minute. I thought we just did Promise to Be True.
We just did Promise to Be True,
I'm
man.
tripping. See, this is what happens when you get old and I'm looking at too many different things and I'm trying to... Lord. Who wants to host this? Next up is, Jealous Girl. Excuse me.
Jealous Girl. All right.
Sorry about that.
I can see this being a Vanity 6 song. You know, because the song opens up, yeah, see, looking at my man, I will cut your ass. I'm like, whoa. Dial it back. You know, but clearly this is something he was trying to put together for someone else. And that's great. And again, he could have kept it, changed a couple of the lyrics around to make it from a male perspective and kept it himself. You know, because this is another burner. You know, I like it because it's fun and you can always see the humor. And I'm seeing the humor here. And he should have kept it. This one should have come out. Now, would it have fit on Sign of the Times? I don't think so. But it should have come out somewhere along the line. But that's another story between him and Warner's having beef about his release schedule, and they didn't want him to flood the market. But this is a good song.
All right, Big Ken.
Yeah, man, this is a cut for real. I think this is another one that was originally intended for the hookers and then abandoned when Vanity 6 kind of developed and all that. And I think he offered it to the Bonnie Raitt and he offered it to the Bengals. But I kind of...
No way. Bengals can handle this. No, this ain't them.
Yeah, I think Vanity could have done something with this possibly. But
yeah,
I mean, the Bengals might have been able to do something with it. Wouldn't have been as funky as this. I mean, they chose Manic Monday instead, and you know they hit Pay Dirt with that. But they could have
right.
they could have possibly had another hit with this one as well. Possibly, you know, I just think that only because it's got that classic up tempo '80s vibe that I really dig. But that being said, this is a cut all the way through. That driving beat, the hand claps, the chicken grease guitar. You know, all that hits you in the grill right from jump, man. And then during the second half of the song, you know, I'm listening to it, man. And I could picture him taking this song to new heights on a 12-inch, you know, and I really dig the abstract ending of it. So I love it, man.
All right, day dropping.
Yeah. So Jealous Girl version 2. I like this one pretty good. It's a good version here. It's a cool song. Yeah, that was offered up to many different people. And Because of the lyrics, and I don't know if he could claim it on his own. It seems like it was always written for a female to sing. But it's a cool song nonetheless, and it really picks up around that 242 mark. And the instrumentation that is very similar to what we eventually would hear on the track Love Sexy. In fact, I think it is the same type of music that you hear on the song Love Sexy. And, I like it. It's danceable. It's an 8 out of 10. It's a great song. It's fun.
Yeah, I agree. This is a burner to me. And the history of it, just the fact that it dates back to 81. I want to hear that original joint. Because there wasn't no horns back then, so it would have been synth lines. I'm very curious, what was the vibe of this song just early on? This song also points to me, even in 86, even during, or 87, whenever this is being worked on, even then Prince, and we've seen this earlier, pulling from earlier material and redoing it or adding things and bringing that into where he was at currently. It just goes to show how early he was for himself. Even that some would argue this is his heyday or just super creative period. It was, but he was just as creative 7 years earlier or whatever, that he could pull songs that even he did early on, third album time, or Dirty Mind, I guess, or something, and bring them to current. So I just think it's just fascinating to me. I'll be hoping at some point they'll release even the original version of this, and then we'll be able to really compare them and see how things change. So love this track. All right, I'm back on track. Next up is There's Something I Like About Being Your Fool. We'll go to Day Dropping.
Wow, this song here, this is the one. This is a beautiful track, and this does sound like something that we heard around the time as late as even Lotus Flower. With the instrumentation, it kind of reminds something that it could fit real nicely right in there, I think. But it's a beautiful track, and his vocal delivery, oh my God, the way he sings this song, and that's some fire right there. Just the way he's singing it, I think he can make girls swoon with this one, I'm telling you. And I know this is going to be a personal favorite of mine eventually. I think it was a shame that this one wasn't released. This is one of those, what were you thinking songs by not bringing this one out? But where would it go? Where would it fit around that time when it was recorded? He was ahead of his own time. How'd that be? Because he was doing songs like this later on, and this song just wouldn't really have fit. At least I don't feel where it would have fit somewhere. I mean, maybe you guys could say where you think it would go around this time frame. Maybe Diamonds and Pearls. I don't know, but originally I had this one as an 8 out of 10. It's going to be a 9 out of 10 now, and I bet you by next week it'll be a 10. This song is just, God, the way he sings it, that I'm not even going to try to do it, but just the way he sings this song is just so beautiful. And,
no, you got to try and do it.
On the spot. No, we got to spare the ears of the listeners. So, it's beautiful though, man. What can I say? It's beautifully sung. Man, I'm about to try to deter it.
Try to bait you into.
I know. So anyhow, yeah, it's a 9 out of 10. In fact, you know what? It's a 10 out of 10. I'm gonna raise it up right now. I'm gonna raise the ante on it. It's that good of a song.
All right, Big Sexy.
I like it. It's got that little, I don't want to call it a full-on Caribbean drum, but it's got a little nod to it there. Little reggae, little nod there too. And again, the guitar work. Guy's doing his thing. And it sounds, I don't want to say stripped down in the sense of Dirty Mind stripped down, but it's just relaxing. You hear the muted trumpet from Bliss, and the guitars are just doing their thing, and the little drum, and that's pretty much it. There is a bass line in there too, but it's really minimalist. That's the word. It's very minimalist, but it speaks volumes because it's something I could, again, go on for a while. They probably had to edit it down to get to the finished version. But this is something I can listen to on repeat all day. I love this one.
All right, Big Ken.
So I got to be honest, man. I'm not a I'm not a hardcore reggae cat by any measure, right?
Nor am I.
You know, although there's some of it I dig, you know, the Bob Marley and all that, but you know, it's never been my favorite genre, right? So I remember, you know, hearing Blue Light for the first time on the Symbol album, and initially feeling like, you know, why is Prince doing this? I mean, you're Prince, goddammit, you ain't got to do this. You know, and even the word, you know, pandering kind of came to mind for a second at that time. But then after I really sat down and gave it a couple of deep listens, I began to appreciate Prince's spin on it. And I grew to love the song, right? So this time around, I had a much less explosive reaction to this track. It didn't blindside me like Blue Light did. But in the context of this set, it was kind of jarring for me for a second because I would have never expected to hear like a reggae joint on this set. But then again, you know, expecting the unexpected. I mean, hell, that's what makes Prince Prince, right? So that said, I really like this song a lot, and I did from the very beginning. I mean, like Mark said, the reggae style bass and the reggae style drum flourishes, they're on point, and they're rock solid through the entire song. To me, that's a testament, another testament to Prince's innate ability, man. He can morph and absorb damn near anything effortlessly, man. We've seen him go from jazz, and now we've seen him reggae. You know, there's a song on Emancipation where he's doing salsa. I mean, and all of it, you know, it's flawless, man. The lyrics and his delivery, like Ernie alluded to, man, they're standard grade A Prince, man. It's like, to me, it's like a reggae inflected extension of the theme of Irresistible Bitch, right? Even though his woman spends all his money, she wrecks his car, she playing on him, but when the chord changes come in and he says during the chorus, you know, you mess around all over town, but honey, we're still cool because there's something I like about being your fool. You believe it. Like, whatever she got is good, so he gonna stick with it. Love that instrumental section that goes on from like 2.5 minutes to the end, including that expressive guitar solo, which to my ears kind of brings the vibe of the solo that's in Alexa de Paris to mind.
Yes.
And as a matter of fact, you know, all the guitar flourishes throughout that he's doing throughout this song. I'm talking about like during the verses, you can hear little stuff that he's doing on the lead guitar. I mean, it's beautiful, man. So all in all, this was a very nice, very unexpected gem in this set.
Wow, interesting. You know, the thing is, I listened to this, and you know, why wouldn't this have come out back then? And I think the same reason why, Ken, you said it's kind of just, you don't expect this. Even like when you say with Blue Light, you know, you like, why is he doing something like that? And what I'm getting at is, I think the reason why this probably wouldn't have came out back then is it, to me, shows that Prince has some connection to the regular world. What I mean by that is, back then, at least to me, I felt like his music was like none other. Like there was no connection really to anybody else except to Prince. Like you just, when you heard his stuff, you knew right away nobody else sounded like that. And you just knew his playing was like, oh, okay, and that's some Prince stuff. And it didn't sound like anything. To me, this, which I think this is great. I agree with everything you said. His guitar stuff is fantabulous. I just think that because it has a reggae vibe to it, it almost tethers it to like, oh, he is doing regular people's music. It's not, you know what I mean? It's not Prince. Like it ties him to, he kind of sounds like everybody else. And at least in my opinion, back then, that was the joy about it. It didn't sound like nobody else. Like it was no, like, even though he may have been interpolating other styles of music, he did it in a way that you didn't know that. Like he would pull from something so early, unless you knew about that music historically, you couldn't have placed it like I can now. But he certainly wasn't. It didn't seem like he was pulling so much contemporary stuff into his mix. Like it'd be the same way I'm saying, like when he started to incorporate rap into it, it made it like, why is he doing like, this is what everybody's doing. Like he's supposed to not be doing what everybody's doing. He's not supposed to be tied to this earth. He's on some other shit. And I just think if he would have put this out, though this is good, it would have, to me, in my opinion, it would have made it seem like, oh, he can play all the types of music, but this sounds like something somebody else would do. Like I could hear, you know what I mean? If that makes any sense. So I can see why this would have not came out, in my opinion, because it makes it sound like he's doing a regular type of music, which I think happens to in his career later on, where he's so talented. And I don't know if this is a thing of maybe him holding himself back on his records to not do straight type of music. Like, I'm only going to do the music with my spin on it. But I think as he goes later, some of the stuff you're like, this is dope, but it just sounds like a super accomplished musician that can play anything. But where's that seasoning that he only has that special taste that nobody else has? Now his stuff tastes like everybody's. It's just very well done, but it's like he's cooking everybody's stuff. So that's why I look at this song like, yeah, this is dope, but I could see why it would have been held back, just because it opens the door to, oh, he sounds like you want to compare it to Bob Marley or something. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? So that's how I would take this. Did we get everybody with this one?
I think so.
We did. All right.
Yes.
All right. Next up is Big Tall Wall version 2. And I really love the other version that we had earlier. So this would be interesting to get a take. Big Ken, how does Big Tall Wall version 2 hold up for you?
It does hold up very well. I've loved this version for years. Always been one of my favorite boots. It's really not that much to say, man. It's just a masterpiece in minimalism and sparseness. But it's uniquely Prince. It's just excellent layered vocals, harmonies and all that, and the drums, man. The dual overlapping parts, especially at 3 minutes 51. I've always loved that, man. And one of the benefits of a set like this, man, to me, for an exceptionally prolific artist as Prince, it gives you kind of a peek inside the creative process, right? How he can swiftly go from one extreme to another. And like you just said, man, like version 1 is so different than version 2, but they're both excellent, man. I love them both equally, man. So this is a favorite of mine.
All right, day dropping.
So for me, this is more like it. I like this darker version. I like that it's cleaned up. We've all heard the bootlegs in varying degrees, and they don't even come close to how clean this version is here. And this is another bootleg staple that's been finally released, and I'm glad that it is. That folks who don't go searching the nefarious depths can now listen to it and enjoy it. I believe that this musical tone fits lyrics very well, and I give this one an 8 out of 10. And I would like to now take this time to go back and talk a little bit about Big Tall Wall version 1. Now that I've healed from my wounds from giving the score on that one back then, I can now say that, I learned from that one. And when I did say Soul Psychedelicide, I found that I did something I should have done with Big Tall Wall. I did it on Soul Psychedelicide, because then I said that version is so different than anything else that we know Soul Psychedelicide to be, that I had to distance myself from that and not trip on that. And I could give it a better score. I had to do that with Big Tall Wall version 1. I have to just, say, okay, take this individual song for what it is and don't necessarily compare it to the other one, because like Ken said, they are so extreme. So this version here, version 2, it's an 8 out of 10. Version 1, after having heard it for a few more weeks and then taking that kind of a thought to it, that's a 9 out of 10. From barely being a 7, like I said back then, and that was being gracious and all giving it a 7. No, that's a 9 out of 10. That shit is funky. If I don't compare it to this one here, which would be that'd be messed up. That's like comparing children, your children and stuff. That's not cool. So I give the new revised score on that version 1 is a 9 out of 10. This one here, 8 out of 10. So it actually trumps this one now, believe it or not. Okay. So there you go.
All right. Yeah. This
redeemed.
This version, I've heard it in not less quality that we've heard. I've heard it over the years. I never really dug this before, which is why when I heard the other version, I was shocked because I love that. Like it's just like a whole other thing to me. This one, it's just that particular sound to it, the doom doom da doom da doom 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 da. And it's similar to some other songs he did. I don't really care for that. In my opinion, it's sort of a dry drum beat. For some reason in my mind, I can be wrong, it reminds me of something. It just makes me think of like it's trying to have some sort of rap, hip hop aesthetic to it, but it doesn't have the essence of it, and it just sounds like somebody's trying to do a big a big drum beat, but it just doesn't have. There's no there's no really percussion, nothing in it. And I can't get into it. There are other songs Prince songs that kind of have this, but I don't know. It's just something about it. Just not. It's like it's missing something from him, like the soul of it or something. And I'm not saying this is bad, but it just doesn't really speak to me. And now hearing the other version, it really just doesn't. It just seems like it's missing. It's just like missing something. It's just too sparse for me personally. But hearing it now crystal clear like this, I find it very interesting. This would be a song for me in my mind visually. I'm gonna be Billy. Kid is in rare form tonight. I'm sitting in the club and he's boom 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 boom. Just like, what is he doing? It's like he's doing this thing. He be in this thing, man. It's okay. Yeah. Big tall wall. It almost sounds. I could see the time clowning. Big tall wall. I don't know. Big tall wall, y'all. So, but again, it just goes to show that my man can have multiple takes of these songs and they'd be wildly different. I'm curious why he pulled this song out and did it over. But I'm glad that it's on here so now you can hear the comparison into. And again, in just a historical standpoint, I'll be glad that people will be able to hear. They'll be like, man, this is the same song and it's totally different each time. Some might love this version, some might love the other. I actually just prefer the other version. That's all I can say. Big Sexy.
You hit around the head. I mean, they're stripped down, they're sparse. I'm hearing a drum, a little bit of guitar here, near the end. I'm just hearing a drum beat. Okay. It's like he took everything else off of it and just left us with this. And to me, it sounds incomplete. It sounds like he was tinkering with it and took everything else out of it. It's like on stage, you'll tell the band, everybody lay out except Ida. Ida, you take it. So it's like he did that here. He told everybody to lay out, or he manipulated everybody out. And all we hear is the drum and a little bit of guitar near the end. It's engaging as somewhat of a novelty, but I just can't take it seriously. Sorry.
All right.
And I'm going to get mail on that, but sorry, I just can't take this one seriously.
There you got a big tall wall. Next up is A Place in Heaven, Lisa vocal. We'll go to Big Ken.
Well, as I said in the Vault 1, man, A Place in Heaven, it's a pretty song, man, but for some reason, it just never really appealed to me that much. I mean, I listen to it from time to time, but it's okay. It's been around for a while, so this is not specific to the versions on this set, so to speak, but, all of them. I mean, it's just overall, the song is kind of just like, it's okay. That said, this version is nice. I like the harpsichord, and Lisa's vocal and Prince's background vocal blend nicely together. But like I said, it's an okay song. It's just not something I listen to often.
All right, Big Sexy.
I like Lisa's voice because you can hear her lack of ego in it. Because I'm sure on all of the Wendy and Lisa stuff, or at least the majority of it, it's Wendy, and that's fine. That's fine. But let's hear from Lisa too. I know she doesn't like to sing, but she's not bad at it. she could. The only way to get better at something is to keep doing it. And I think she should keep doing it. I think this is a nice little departure, and had it gone through and the band stayed together for another year or two, maybe they would have given her a little spotlight during the tour. I don't know. But this is okay. I like it.
All right. I would just quickly say, I've heard this many times before. I actually, just my nitpick, I would have preferred they could have put a different song on this set just because it's already on here previously. But with that said, I do like at the very beginning when the beat kicks in, it sounds like somebody is either just slightly off the mic or in the background, but you can hear somebody yell or something.
Like a howl.
Yeah. And I love the energy of that because it's such a subdued song, but I could just only imagine Prince like just so excited. And then they go right into it. So I really appreciate that. But that's all I had to say about that. Day dropping.
Yeah, so with Lisa vocals, a little bit heavier bass on this one than on the Prince version, and that's cool. I mean, I like this version too. I kind of prefer Prince's vocal delivery, but this version has its place. It's kind of weird because I think the song lends itself better to a female singing it, yet comparing the Lisa's vocals to Prince's vocals, I like it better when it's sung by him. So there is something to be said about Lisa singing it because I think it works better as a female singing it. But I like the way Prince sings it better than her. It's still whimsical. It's still dreamlike. It's always a song that I enjoy. And like the other version, I give this one a 9 out of 10 as well because it's so different than what Prince was doing prior to that we had heard, that it just really stands out. It's just a different take on that. Oh, and also, I do want to note that Ken was right. That other version, the reverse version, when you play it forward, it does sound very trippy, and that's even a different take still. And I do like that one also. But this one here, yeah, 9 out of 10.
All right, man, 9 out of 10. Wonderful Day, but it's the 12-inch mix. I'm going to go to Big Ken first.
Well, as I said in Vault 1, this is another favorite of mine, man. The butterscotch and chocolate theme, man, from Under the Cherry Moon movie, man. This is always playing in the background. So, this is a favorite of mine. So this 12-inch, man, really is basically a blend of the Prince lead vocal version that's in the, Vault 1, and then Lisa's and Wendy's, lead vocals from the other version, kind of interspersed with Prince also doing background version vocals. And all together, man, it's, cut together. It's really nice. I mean, I love the extended groove of it. And, but I do know that there is the actual studio version of the song. I really would love to hear that. But other than that, my opinion of this song remains the same, man. It's a pretty funky track to me. I love it. It gets mad airplay over here, man. So it's high on my list.
All right, Day dropping.
Yeah, although I like the Prince version for the clarity that he has on his lyrical delivery, so I can really understand a lot better. This version is funkier, in my opinion, because of the inclusion of the Revolution and the remix aspect. Back on the first one, from Vault 1, I had said then that if it was more fun and it was a longer ride, it would be a 10. Well, this one is that on both aspects. It's more fun. It's a longer ride. And for those who are wondering, the lyrics on that bit that we would have heard on Under the Cherry Moon on the chocolate and butterscotch scene, well, here you have it. This is where that came from. So yeah, this is what the other one was plus more, and that's what I wanted from the other version from that Vault 1, and that one was a 9 out of 10. So I said that if it would be a 10 if it upped the ante, this one ups the ante. It's a 10 out of 10.
All right, Mr. Big Sexy.
I didn't put that with Under the Cherry Moon until Ken just mentioned it. But now it takes me right back to it. And, again, though, this one, to quote Mike, I'm not into this one. This one isn't grabbing me. I mean, it hits me for the nostalgic reference to fill out the score of Under the Cherry Moon. But that's really about it. Maybe I have to give it some more listens, but right now it's just not working for me.
All right. I would just say, I agree with you. The nostalgia part of it, and, it reminds me of the movie. That I love that. I love the other version, that we reviewed earlier on. And I think this is cool. The only thing this annoys me, and it's more so just the techniques of the mixing, the so-called remixing back in the day. All of that sort of double beat and, repeating the stuff over, it starts to get on my nerves a little bit. And I don't like that with Prince's stuff, because I just think you don't really remix Prince unless he does it. But I prefer him just playing the damn song. Like, I want to hear the song, let it play out, but you don't have to add a whole bunch of shit on top of it. So that's the only little thing nitpick about it. But I love that other version, and this is cool too. I love this one too. So I'm not mad at this at all. Again, nitpicking. I personally probably would not have put this on the album twice or on this set twice. Just if I know I have a plethora of all these other songs to play, that would be my only thing. I don't know if this one necessarily needed to be on here a second time, but that's just my opinion. All right, man, damn, we went through this one kind of quick.
Mm-hmm.
All right, here's the last track, and I have some things to say about this, but Strange Relationships, 1987, Shep Pettibone club mix. Now, back in the day, you got your 12 inches. It would not be out of place to see a remix of whatever song you got on 12 inch, and it said Shep Pettibone. I never actually know who that was. I assume he was some sort of remix guy. He was very popular. Some stuff I dig. Most of it was not stuff that I personally would be into. Now, he may take, I think he probably did some Janet ones too. Back in the day, I used to get the Janet 12 inches. But Prince, and particularly this time period, if this had came out back then, I would not have been feeling this at all. One, this is one of my favorite Prince songs. This is the jam. So I would have been like, okay, I expect to hear the long version of this Prince about to get nasty. We've somewhat got a little bit of that early on in this set. So this here, when I started to listen to this, I was like, first of all, man, this dates it. This sounds dated. I was waiting for Bobby Brown or something to jump on the track and start singing, because just the orchestra hits and all that, that's so like late 80s, 90s type of vibe. I was like, man, this really takes me back to, I really don't give a damn. I was like, is Bobby about to get on this one? I can understand why Prince or whoever was like, yo, let's let homeboy Shep Pettibone remix this. Maybe we're going to put this out. But I'm so glad this didn't come out back then. And I can appreciate them putting it on here. I can appreciate that. If I was in the mix of putting this together, I may have argued like, man, we can't put this out. We still got all these other songs. Are you serious? Like, you gonna put the Shep Pettibone? Like, I'd have been like, who's doing that? Like, huh? Let that be for the 12, put that on the 12-inch edit disc or something.
Exactly.
But
exactly.
When are we going to start doing? I just think it was very odd placing, particularly of this song, knowing that I know there is another version. For instance, there's another version of I Could Take the Place of Your Man remix that I think is far superior to this. I assume Prince did that mix. I'm not sure why that's not even on this set, but that could have been on here because this song is already on the set. Isn't this on here 3 times, or am I tripping? This particular song, is this song on here twice?
Well, no, you got the version that's on Vault 1 and then this one.
Okay, so it's twice.
Yeah.
So, yeah, and to me, this isn't, I don't know how much of this is Prince and Shep, but I'm just not, there's some of the sounds. Again, this is a song that, in my opinion, this tethers Prince to the normal world, this version of it. It tethers it to the the DJing remix sounds of that particular time period, which I would not associate Prince's music with that, because to me, I always felt like he kept his shit separate. And I think the next album, when we get into the Glam Slam 12-inch, I think is that the Chef Pettibone did that one?
I don't know if Shep did it, but it does sound a lot like this with the cuts and edits and stuff.
Yeah, it started to get into okay, he's a part of the regular world, and I have to catch myself as well. Hot Thing was also remixed, but Hot Thing ended up containing. You could hear Prince there was other parts that were cut out of the original that obviously they injected into that, so it had more of a. It's not just some remixed up thing. So all that to say is, I wasn't feeling this, and it's because I love this song so much. On my nitpick side and my side eye side of myself, I'm annoyed by this. I don't know why. This annoys me to hear this. I don't know why. Maybe that's the snob in me. The Prince snob in me is annoyed by this. Like, stop it. But anyway, that's my feel on this. Day dropping.
Yeah, I'm very much agree with you, Michael. And originally, I had thought a little bit better of this when I first heard it, and after having heard it multiple times already, unlike Big Toe Wall version 1, which I felt was better hearing it, I don't think as much for this one, having heard it more times. I'd never heard this one before, and it is very much the Shep Pettibone remix. I would say go to YouTube, listen to Shep Pettibone's remix of the George Michael song from the Faith album, a song called Hard Day.
Yes.
It sounds almost identical to it. There's so many, his staple is on those. He has a certain sound that he does with his remixes, and it's right on there. If you listen to Hard Day, the Shep Pettibone remix, it doesn't work. But you know what? Well, you can see the similarities. It does work with George Michael because his music kind of goes that route in the Faith album. So it works there. It really doesn't work here. And it just seems really out of place, especially in this vault track. It, like you said, it should have been put in that remix CD or it belonged right there. It doesn't belong here. This really took up way too much time on this that could have been reserved for any other tracks that were released then that aren't on here. This version it's okay, I guess, but it's very unnecessary. At first I thought it gave it a new feel to the song, but now I think the opposite. It doesn't really do anything new to this song. It wears out its welcome pretty quick, and it's good background music. And I don't think that Strange Relationship should ever be deemed as a background track to anything you're doing. And in no way does this trump the original, and no way does it really add to it. So I give this one a score of 5 out of 10, only because the original is so good, and not because of, and it stays at a 5 and no more because of the remix aspect to it.
Yeah, I mean, just shit. I would have, even though, and you can't even use the "well, it's been released already" card, because half of these I would have just put on like "Last Heart" or something. Like, you know what I mean? Like, shit, if you're gonna grab from shit that time period, and it's not like you can go find Crystal Ball that easy. I would have put on "Last Heart," a couple other songs that from that period, just to go ahead and give a full Dream Factory-ish, Crystal Ball-ish type music. But anyway,
and you don't end a vault CD track with this.
Yeah.
No, you don't do that.
Again, somebody's, oh man, we're gonna get Sign of Time Super Deluxe, and the last track gonna be a Chef Pettibone mix.
Nah,
you ready to pre-order? Get the fuck out of here. You're bullshitting, right? But anyway, Big Ken.
Yeah, I pretty much agree with you guys, man. I mean, listening to it retrospectively in 2020, like Ernie just said, I mean, it's all right. It's okay from that perspective. But you're right, Mike, man. If this would have been put out in 87, and I'm glad they didn't, I would have been, I would not have dug it, man, because, no shade on Shep Pettibone. But again, that was his style. His style does sound very, very dated. He did a lot of these, synth hits and stabs and cuts and, inserting all these drum rolls and spots that really didn't need it. And like Ernie said, he did it on Hard Day. He did it on a lot of artists. He did a lot of artist remix. He was pretty hot back then. But again, no shade on him. I mean, that was the style back then, right? You know what I'm saying? A lot of cats did remixes like that back then. Never was my real thing, but that's what it was. To me, this kind of has this over quote unquote factory dancified vibe to it that I just don't like, man. And it just detracts a little bit from
Teddy Riley.
Actually. Yeah. I mean,
which is interesting unto itself.
There's a part in the middle, man, where I swear when I'm listening to it, it almost, where he kind of just breaks it down. It almost feels like it slows the tempo down, to fit into this four on the floor dance vibe. But whatever, man. I mean, at the end of the day, Prince sanctioned it to be done. Now, luckily, he had the wise authority to not put it out. But I will give Shep points on the fact that he did manage to keep some of the chicken grease guitar and the Bernie Ruel style bass synth stuff that Prince was doing. So he gets a couple points for that. But now this is this to me, to be honest with you guys, man, this period right here, not this period, this time in remixes, because I'm with you guys. I'm from that school where when Prince would put out a 12-inch, I was expecting the extended versions of songs. I was expecting, the Kisses and Alphabet Streets, like the full versions of songs. But then, I knew then when he put out Hot Thing and it sounded a little bit different, I'm like, okay, something's a little off, but okay, fine. Then Love Sexy, the Glam Slam totally butchered that one. And then it just, after that, it went remix. We went away from the 12-inch and we went to remix. So it was just the way it was. No, it's just what it was, man. It was just a harbinger of what was to come, I guess.
That's what I was about to say. You kind of hit on that. That was the signpost that things were slightly changing.
Yeah.
When those 12-inch remixes came out and they had the tinge of the current sound attached to them.
Yeah.
It's like,
But I agree. Ultimately, they could have, this probably could have been, they could have put something like you said, Last Hard, Make Your Mama Happy. I mean, there's tons of stuff that he did around this period that they probably could have put here to end this a little bit better. But, that's just a nitpick.
I guess for me, I probably never really, and I could find probably, something to negate this, but for me, on a Prince thing, don't give me a remix. Give me the 12-inch, because I know that's going to be, like you were saying, Ken, that's the next level of that. The remix usually tends to be the next level of a song, and that's just not the case here. And I rarely do I think that's ever the case with Prince songs anyhow. When you get the remix of a Prince song, it's unnecessary tinkering, where the 12-inch, you're getting the full version of the song. And that's, to me, that I prefer that over a remix of pretty much any Prince song. I could probably find something that a Prince remix that will negate that, but for the most part, that's my sentiment on it.
That was just the times that the way stuff was changing. I remember feeling that way, like on the 12 inches for like The Future, and what was the other, Electric Chair. Like, I was like, man, like Electric Chair was one I really expected. Like, okay, because I saw him on Saturday Night Live, basically go into a portion of that song that I know they could have took someplace with the extended version, but they went the remix route. So it was just a sign of the times, no pun intended.
Yeah, and we're gonna go to Big Sexy here, but I think it's like, I think it was probably like, his sound was so different from where music was going,
right?
And it was probably like sonically, they're like, dude, whoever, if it was him thinking this or whatever, was like, your music it literally doesn't sound sonically like what's hitting right now in the clubs. Like, how are we going to go from one of your records and then, we drop one of these Teddy Riley jams or something, very hard hitting drums, hip hop, rap drums. And then, of course, playing rap music was, that was so like cutting edge, and he's coming through, and it doesn't have that. I would say sonically, it doesn't really have that sound to it. And I think he's trying with like Big Tall Wall, these boom, boom, ga, ga, boom, but it just doesn't. He comes from a different space musically. I would say like Strange Relationship to me is more Sly. Was it Billy Preston? It's that kind of vibe, but it's, but he has that Prince thing to it, as opposed to it being more like, Planet Rock, Run DMC, LL Cool J, and then the new faces of R&B that's starting to tear it down, which to me, they're trying to make this song sound like Teddy, right? The influence of his stamp or his influence on music at that time is starting to be so heavy. Like if it doesn't have that type of sound, it's probably not going to really get played. So they're thinking, okay, the 12-inch, let's make it sound like what's sonically happening right now. And I don't think and it doesn't work. And I think as we start to see those 12 inches after this are trying to do that. And I don't think it really clicks in until Prince himself has some sort of better understanding of the music. And then we have like Get Off, which is a perfect, like, he doesn't, even though that is still remixed, but at least it's like, this sounds the essence of the today's sound, but it has the Prince thing. Nobody else needs to mess with this. And, but you can hear it in the rest of his songs. Like you said, all those other 12-inch releases, they're trying to make it sound like current music. Love to the left of me, love to the right. Okay, let's have the rap element to it or something. But if he just stuck to what he did, it would have been fine. But I can understand why they probably was like, yeah, we got to make it sound this way, and which is the beginning of the end. I hate to say it that way, but music was changing. Somebody got their TV playing in the background. But anyway, Big Ken, what you think?
Big Sexy.
Big Sexy. I'm sorry, y'all.
I know it's too many bigs, man. It's okay.
Paul.
This takes me back. This whole thought takes me back to like 81, 82, when Rick James had Super Freak, and they came out with the remix of that, and I was all excited, and I get home and I play it, and all it does is Super Freak, wow, wow. I'm like, really? This is it? So remixes for me, it's a touchy area. And I believe Prince himself said once, I don't do remixes because if I want to play longer, I'll just play it longer. Case in point, America, the 12-inch, 21 minutes. Now, I know I'm going to get some mail and some blowback on this, but so be it. This Shep Pettibone cat, and I've heard the name a lot of times, but it's like, dude, I've heard the name, but you ain't done shit. It's like back in the early 90s, people would take an existing song and stick what they called a house mix on it. And they just stuck on some bullshit snare drum track. Like, really? This is it? So Shep didn't do shit for me with this one. They could have left this one off. And the fact that, well, it's not only a remix, it's the Shep Pettibone remix. Oh, well, that changes things. No, fuck him. I didn't like it at all. I don't like him fucking with it. And now if he wants to do that shit in the clubs with all the EDM, Calvin Harris crap, hey man, do your thing. But leave musicians alone. All right, take it somewhere else with that.
Yeah, and I can understand. I think I was reading Michael Howe. He was it seemed like he was excited that they found this tape and but I can understand where he's coming from. I would just say going forward though, I don't know who the Brain Trust Council, who they have there, but as a fan, I would just say, and I'm not speaking for all fans, we may want to just leave the remixes. We don't. Pass. That ain't really what we're trying to get.
Correct.
We want the Prince music, unless now again it gets tricky. Unless it's something Prince was so passionate about, and you can see evidence that he wanted Teddy to do this, and he played on maybe something like they worked together. But even when Prince did something like this on the Crystal Ball release, he was putting those remixes. I was kind of like, is this where you got to vote and you putting this out? We don't want to hear the remixes. Now, I will admit, I love the Shock G remix of Love Sign.
Love Sign.
Uh-huh.
And that's cool. It's very derivative of his other works, particularly I Get Around by Tupac. But it was interesting. Now, but looking back at that, if I would have known Prince, I would have said, yeah, that's cool, man. But what about them other, you got tracks? We don't need to hear that. So I'm just saying to the estate, I would probably pass on the next one. You can just leave all them leave those to like last consideration. Prince first, and then think about that. You don't want, but please don't end a set with the next set, if it's like Love Sexy or something, please don't let the last track be Dance On, the Eddie F remix. That will not be. Dance On. We don't want to hear the In Living Color style remix of William Davis.
No.
All right, man. So that's Vault 3. I'm gonna go to Big Ken, man. What's your overall thoughts on Vault 3? And let me ask you this too. If it's not too early to ask, how does it stack up compared to the other two?
Well, I'll say that Vault 1 was great. It set the table. Vault 2 raised the bar, and I thought Vault 3, excluding the misstep at the end with the remix that we just talked about, it capped off the Vault material very well. Like the other two parts, there's some serious powerhouse songs in this section for me, including those I spoke about that hit me in ways that I didn't expect, that I didn't see coming. But I'll just say that all together, man, the material presented and all three of these sections, man, is well executed for the most part, and it just really just further solidifies the genius of Prince to me, man, and it elevates his already legendary status, man. And the kicker in all this, man, is that this is all Vault material, man, that he didn't release for whatever reason, and the quality of which is stunning, right? There are a lot of artists out there, who the sum total of their officially released material can't come close to the quality of some of this stuff. So overall, it's just simply amazing to me, man. I'm just glad to have it.
All right. Big Sexy, excuse me.
I dug all three Vault sections. If I had to put a favorite, I have to say 2, followed by 3, then by 1, even though 3 has the weakest entry at the end. Because again, Chef Pettibone, well, that changes things. Get out of here. I love that the state did this. And again, it gives an opportunity for people like us. Yes, I'm putting on my snob hat now, to further show what our guy's about. He could do this. Yeah, he could do that. He could do that. Yeah, he could do this. He could do anything he wanted to do. And the fact that he has so much music, socked away back there, completed music, it's just amazing. I remember getting the same reaction from people back in 2004 when he did the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. Oh, man, that solo, I didn't know he could play like that. Man, you don't know shit. He's been doing that for 100 years, man. That is not even one of his better solos, in my opinion. So, but it's cool. It's cool. And so I'm glad that it's still out there. And again, for people, again, like us, who through questionable means may or may not have some of this music already, it's good to have it in official capacity and allows us to support the estate and let us essentially put our money where our mouth is. So that's good for me too. So I think it's a great job. And I don't know how much further they can take things, because this was a massive set. Now, I'm not saying the material isn't there, because I'm sure it is, but how do you top this? Where do you go from here?
All right, they drop it.
Yeah, if I was going to put them in any kind of order, it'd be a first place and a second place. First place would be the second Vault 2 CD. I think that has a whole bunch of stuff put together. It's hard to get through that one because of all that's there. And then depending on how I feel, it's either second place, it's either one CD1 or CD3, but you can alternate those two. So I'll just basically lump those two in the second place. In terms of the whole collective here, like Big Sexy said, that this it gives you a chance to really demonstrate to the non-listeners out there who know Prince for the guy who wears purple, has a curly hair, and sang Purple Rain. For those people like that, they're your casual listeners, or the ones who don't know, even more so, the young kids who don't know, to have them hear stuff like this and just know that, you know, this guy did that. And it's funny, I like that Big Sexy mentioned the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame video, because lately I've been seeing a lot of reaction videos on YouTube from that. Seems to be kind of like a hot topic, and I like to see those, because people react to him being on the guitar, and I'm thinking, you know, yeah, I know you're kind of blown away by that, but I hope that you use that just live video as a catalyst to get you to listening to more, because there is so much more to listen to. This collection here, it has so many gems in it. Like you guys said, this is easily the whole catalog for any artist, and this is just a 3-year period. You know, this particular collection here on Vault 3, with the exception of the last one, it's very good. Even on my lesser scores, that doesn't mean it's not a good track. All the tracks are good. Again, with the exception of the last one, I don't care much for that, but all the other tracks on all the other Vault CDs, they're excellent. You know, for me to score something 6, 7, 8, 9, I'm being ultra nitpicky on it to do that. And but because you're amongst a class of jewels of songs, you're giving something a 6. Well, you're also saying that that's way leaps and bounds above what most other people can do and do. I'm just, you know, I'm glad that this came out. I don't know how the estate will be able to trump this, or if they can. I'm not going to hold it against them if they can't, because this is one hell of a crazy release. But if they can, oh boy, we're in for a ride.
All right.
Hey, Mike, can I add something else real quick?
Certainly.
So, you know, I mean, you know, all of us and, you know, all Prince fans, man, we can, you know, argue and debate over, you know, the inclusion or exclusion of this song and that song, or this should have been in this period and this and all that. But at the end of the day, man, I'm just really glad that this set is out, man. I think this set is worthy of the artist that is celebrating. And it's a perfect vehicle, man, in my opinion, to showcase a sentiment that, you know, I say it all the time in every show. I know I sound like a broken record, man, but it's impossible to overstate, man, just like how insanely creative and prolific, you know, Prince was. And I think this set really captures that, man. And we're talking about, it's a set that's focused in and around just one period of his career. I mean, we all know that this guy, that's all he did, man. This guy could walk into a studio at any given time on the drop of a hat by himself, right? He can go in there and lay down whole songs, track by track, play every instrument, lay down the vocals, everything. And he did this literally pretty much every day, right? He either wrote or recorded or did both pretty much every day for the entirety of his career. Like, this cat never even had a job. Like, this all he did, right? And so it's just like, to me, man, you know, this set really captures just a wide swath of what Prince is about and what he was capable of, man. And again, to me, it kind of puts into perspective what I've always said and what I've always thought, man, that Prince's stuff, man, it comes from a higher place, man. It's from the divine, man. I don't think that Prince could even control this, you know, just in terms of the sheer amount of music and the pace that he was doing this stuff. Dude, I think this music was coming from a higher place. I don't think he can control it. I don't think he could turn it off. That's why he just wrote all the time. That's why Warner Brothers had a hard time reining him in. That's why he's got a friggin' vault with years and years and years of music, because he had to have some place to put it because he couldn't release it. You know, I mean, like Warner Brothers, like, you know, no shade to them, but how can you contain the ocean? You see what I'm saying? Like, that's where he was at, man. And this thing just really scratches the surface of that, because, you know, we know, man, come on, man, there's got to be there's probably tons of material on the Purple Rain era, the Parade era, the Controversy era, and even the, you know, the less celebrated stuff, we, you know, the Gold Experience and everything else. We know that's all he did, man, was record. So this gives me hope, man. You know, I don't know if they'll ever top this, but man, if they can just continue to put out releases like this and this quality, man, they got my money every time, man. I'm there for it.
All right. My final thought on Vault 3, I agree with Ernie. For me, Vault 2 is the top. I would say Vault 2, Vault 1, and then this one. I'm still getting through Vault 3. The songs on the other ones capture my attention probably a little more, so I'm still jamming on those. I'm still working on them because it's a lot of material, but there is some fabulous stuff on here. There's a lot of deep. These are deep cuts, even for like a Prince fan in terms of just of the unreleased stuff. Vault 3 has a lot of deep cuts in that realm, if that makes any sense. A lot of them that have some great stories to them too, which I hope is preserved in the context of it. That's why I say, Cosmic Day is important, Wally's important, just kind of what they mean as well. But yeah, I really love this one. Looking at all three of these, and I'll make it quick, it just goes to show like he had so much going on in his mind. And it's fascinating to look at all three of these, even aside from the albums that we did get, is that he could have went so many different directions, and there's just so much material here. It's almost hard to think of how do you come to a decision to, okay, I'm going to do Camille, or no, I want to do this, or no, it's going to be this. And you can hear that he had so much time on his hands, and he was so busy with the time that he had that he was able to come up with all of these ideas and things that they could have done. And it's interesting to think of that. And then when he decides that he wants to do this, somebody was in a position to say, even that, we wouldn't even be able to sell that properly. Like that's too much. Can you even tone that down? And what he gave them was already something sort of toned down now that you look at all of this. So it's just interesting, of what this is what it looks like when a guy he's devoted to one thing and he's super prolific and he has super creativity, and then somehow trying to take that art and make it a product that could be for sale. And sometimes it doesn't work. You're going to have to do some changes there. It would have been interesting to see what would have happened if they would have just allowed him to put it all out. Would that have been too much? Who knows? And, we think about the attention spans of people, and what was the attention span back then? Was there a machine in place that have been able to handle all of that material and marketing and stuff? These are other questions. These are questions, obviously, Prince ain't got to deal. He don't think or deal with. He's just in the creative space. So he's just making shit. But yeah, fascinating listen. So there you go. We did the Vault tracks. We are going to do, we'll see if I can wrangle the brothers together for some of the other stuff, but there will be a review of the DVD, the concert. We're going to talk about that. Of course, we'll talk about the remix disc and, another listen to the album, right? How does it sound sonically compared to the other? So we still got more to do, but, I think we were able to do something special here, man, by getting these guys together, and we went through and talked about this Vault stuff. So please, I want for the listeners, please send your thanks to Big Ken, Big Sexy, Day Dropping. Let them know. We're curious to hear what you think about these songs. Before we get out of here, Big Ken, where can people find you online?
Oh man, let me see. That's Twitter, Big Ken on Twitter, and then Ken Mitchell on Facebook.
All right, Mr. Day Dropping.
Ernie Wiles on Facebook as well as on Twitter.
All right, and Big Shaxy.
All right, on Facebook, Mark Wiggins, Instagram, Mark Wiggins 2, and Twitter. And I just have to break somebody off today on Twitter, WSE Mark.
All right, and of course you can find us here on podcastjuice.net. You can also find us on YouTube. Just look up Podcast Juice or Podcast on Prince. And we're on all the other platforms, Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. Ladies and gentlemen, work it like a job. We'll see you next time. Peace.